There is a trait few possess. It cannot be learned. It cannot be imitated. It is the rare empath's gift, the ability to feel the unseen and carry what others hide. Most people listen with their ears. You listen with your soul. You sense pain before it's spoken. You see truth behind masks. You absorb the emotions of a room and turn them into understanding. This is not weakness. It is depth. The empath's path is not easy because it requires awareness most people avoid. But it is through this sensitivity that real transformation begins. You often notice what others ignore. The shift in tone, the silence between words, the subtle tension behind a smile. This awareness is not ordinary. It is a form of perception that goes beyond logic. You don't just observe people. You read the atmosphere of their inner world. You feel where they are lost, where they are hiding, where they are breaking. This sensitivity can overwhelm you. You sense so much that it becomes hard to stay grounded. But this awareness is not a burden when you understand its purpose. It exists to guide you, not to drown you. It teaches you how to move with clarity in a world filled with emotional noise. Awareness shows you patterns. It reveals the same wounds repeating in different faces. It makes you see that most people act from pain, not intention. When you understand this, you stop taking things personally. You begin to respond with wisdom instead of reaction. Through awareness, you learn what to give your energy to and what to release. You begin to navigate life like someone who can see in the dark. Every feeling becomes information. Every interaction becomes insight. You stop living on the surface and start living from depth. Your awareness is not meant to isolate you. It is meant to awaken you. It helps you see beyond illusion and return to authenticity. Once you honor it, your perception becomes a gift that protects you and guides others toward their truth. You feel deeply, but feeling everything is not the same as carrying everything. When you absorb the pain, fear, and confusion of others, you slowly lose your center. That is why boundaries are not walls, they are strength. They are the invisible lines that keep your energy pure and your empathy alive. Boundaries teach you to say no without guilt. They remind you that protecting your peace is not selfish, it is necessary. When you draw limits, you reclaim control of your emotional space. You stop reacting to every vibration around you and start choosing where your attention goes. Many empaths confuse love with sacrifice. They believe they must always be available, always heal, always understand. But true empathy does not mean losing yourself for others. It means holding space without being consumed. You can care deeply while still standing in your own truth. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you say no to your own growth. Boundaries reverse that pattern. They allow you to give from fullness, not exhaustion. They protect your sensitivity from manipulation and emotional overload. They keep your inner world clean, so your intuition stays sharp. When you set boundaries, some people will resist. They may call you distant or cold. Let them. Boundaries reveal who respects your energy and who depends on taking it. Over time, you will attract relationships built on mutual respect, not emotional dependence. Power does not come from how much you feel, but from how well you protect what you feel. Boundaries give your empathy direction. They turn chaos into clarity. They make your compassion conscious, disciplined, and strong. Solitude is not loneliness. It is the quiet space where your energy returns to itself. For an empath, being alone is not withdrawal, it is recovery. You absorb emotions like a sponge. Without solitude, you stay filled with fragments of other people's stories, emotions, and chaos. In silence, you release all that does not belong to you. When you are alone, the noise fades. You begin to hear your own thoughts again. You feel the rhythm of your own energy. You remember what peace feels like. This is not escape, it is cleansing. It is how your soul resets after carrying the emotional weight of the world. In solitude, your insight deepens. You begin to see the difference between empathy and attachment. You learn that compassion does not mean constant connection. True understanding often grows in silence, not conversation. The empath's power depends on this cycle of feeling and retreating, connecting and recharging. Most people fear solitude because they meet themselves there. For you, that meeting is essential. It helps you see what emotions are yours and what you have absorbed. It teaches you to be your own source of comfort. It reminds you that peace is internal, not external. Do not apologize for needing time alone. Your solitude is where your clarity lives. It is where intuition strengthens and emotional balance returns. Every time you step back into the world after being alone, you do so cleaner, wiser, and lighter. Solitude is sacred because it restores your essence. It reconnects you to what is real and silent inside you. It reminds you that you are not here to drown in others' emotions. You are here to understand them, transform them, and then return to stillness, where your power begins again. You spend much of your life feeling for others. You comfort them, listen to them, absorb their pain until you forget your own. You know how to hold others through storms, but you rarely hold yourself. This imbalance weakens your spirit. Compassion without self-compassion turns empathy into exhaustion. The truth is simple. You cannot give what you do not have. When you ignore your own needs, your empathy becomes hollow. It loses strength because it no longer comes from fullness, but from depletion. Real compassion begins the moment you treat yourself with the same patience and understanding you offer to everyone else. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to feel tired. You are allowed to step away when your soul needs quiet. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of awareness. When you care for yourself first, your energy becomes cleaner, and your empathy becomes healing instead of draining. Self-compassion means you stop judging your sensitivity. You stop calling yourself too emotional, too soft, or too much. You start seeing your depth as strength, not flaw. You learn to comfort the part of you that feels too deeply. You become your own safe place before trying to be one for others. Forgive yourself for the times you stayed too long, listened too much, or gave beyond your limits. Those moments were not mistakes, they were lessons in balance. Each taught you that your heart matters as much as anyone else's. Compassion must be circular, not one-sided. When you nurture yourself, you become stable in your empathy. You stop rescuing others to avoid your own pain. You start helping from clarity, not guilt. Your kindness grows wiser, your emotions steadier. Every act of self-care, every boundary kept, every honest rest is an act of compassion in motion. It reminds you that healing begins within. Only then can your empathy become the quiet strength that lifts others without losing yourself. Your sensitivity is not an accident. It was never meant to make you weak. It was meant to shape you into someone who sees truth beyond appearances. Every empath faces a period of confusion where they absorb the world's pain and mistake it for their own. But that confusion is only the beginning. Transformation begins the moment you decide to no longer suffer unconsciously. Pain becomes a teacher when you stop running from it. Every emotion you have carried, every heartbreak you have felt, has been preparing you to evolve. Transformation does not come through denial, it comes through awareness. You face what hurts, you understand it, and then you rise above it. The rare empath does not drown in emotion, they learn to navigate it. You will go through phases where you question your purpose. You will outgrow relationships that no longer match your vibration. You will walk alone for a while. This is not punishment, it is purification. The old self must dissolve so that a wiser self can emerge. Each loss, each silence, each awakening pushes you closer to your truth. Transformation happens quietly. One day, the same things that once overwhelmed you will no longer shake you. The emotions that used to consume you will now move through you. You will still feel deeply, but you will no longer suffer from it. This is emotional mastery, the evolution of empathy into wisdom. Your empathy, once a wound, becomes a source of strength. You no longer absorb energy unconsciously, you read it consciously. You no longer carry the world's pain, you help others release theirs. You turn chaos into clarity, emotion into understanding, sensitivity into power. Transformation is not about becoming someone new. It is about becoming real. It is the return to your essence, the self that exists beneath fear and conditioning. Once you reach this level of awareness, you no longer seek validation. You live with quiet certainty, guided by your inner truth. This is your destiny as an empath, to evolve from pain into purpose, to walk through shadow and emerge with light, to be the presence that heals without speaking, because your very being radiates understanding. Transformation is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of conscious living. The world does not need more noise. It needs people who can feel truth. That is you. the rare empath, the one who sees with the heart and heals without words,